Hello friends, welcome to another learning session. Today in our English class, we'll be looking at asking and answering questions on present, past, and future actions. Asking and answering questions that are on present, past, and future actions. If you recall, in our previous lessons, we learned about present actions, past actions, and future actions. We looked at all of them, and we said that the present actions are those things that are happening at the moment. The past actions are those that happened already, while the future actions are those actions that are yet to happen. So today what we are looking at is how we're going to be asking questions on the present actions. I will be asking and answering questions on them. How we'll be asking and answering questions on past actions, and then on future actions. So first here we have present actions. Okay, so questions that border on things that are happening at the moment are the questions under present actions. For example, what are you doing? If someone asks you, what are you doing? That person is asking, what are you doing at that particular time? What are you doing at the moment? And then another question in the present is, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going at the moment? Why is she crying? This is a question in the present. The thing is still going on at the moment. And who is singing? Now, if you notice, there are special helping verbs that are used here. Are, is, okay? So those indicate things that are happening. For are, it is something that indicates plural when it is more than one. And is when it is singular, that is one. Okay? So those are some questions you can ask in the present at your level. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at will be answering this kind of questions in the present. Now, we've seen how they can be asked in the present. We see the special helping verbs are and is that can be used to ask such questions. Now we are going to see how we can answer those questions. All right, so the next aspect is answering these questions in the present form. So the first one here says, what are you doing? In answering that question, depending on what the you is referring to, because you can be referring to one person, you can also refer to more than one person. Okay? So if it is one person, the response will be, I am eating. What are you doing? If you are eating, for instance, you will say, I am eating. If you are doing your homework, you could say, I am doing my homework. So depending on what you're doing, you use I am, then you say what you are doing in the continuous form with ing. I am eating, I am writing, I am dancing, I am singing. You must put your ing, okay, to show it's in the present. And then, but if the you is indicating more than one, then the response will be, we are eating. What are you doing? We are eating, we are dancing, we are singing, we are shopping, whatever the action is. But remember your ing also. And then the use of are, because this shows plural. Okay, but with the question, what are you doing, even if it's a singular person, are can be used for a singular you or a plural you. Just note that when you are using you, it will always be are, whether it's singular or plural. But in your response, you can now show the difference. You can't say I are eating. No, it's very wrong. I am eating, we are eating. Okay, so the next question says, where are you going? Where are you going? So if it's a singular person that this you is referring to be, I am going to the park. For instance, if that's what the person is going to, or I am going to the school. I'm going to school. I'm going to the market. It depends. So if the you here is more than one person, the response will be, we are going to the park. We are going to school. We are going to the market. Okay? So these are ways you respond to this where are you going question. And then the next one is, why is she crying? So here it's clear, the is here shows that it's a single person, and the she also signifies that it's a single person that is being referred to here. Why is she crying? So the response will be, she is crying because. This why question always goes with because. It always goes with something to tell the reason. Okay, so she is crying because she is hungry. She is crying since she hasn't eaten. Since is another word that can sometimes be used in place of because. But whatever it is, when you have a question of why, always know that your answer will be to give the reason. Okay, to give the reason to what is being asked. She is crying because she is hungry. She is crying because the mom left her alone. She is crying because she is scared. Okay, and the last one he says, who is singing? Again, this is singular, so the person being referred to is singular. Abby is singing. That could be your response. John is singing. Or Abby is the one singing, or John is the one singing. Whichever way you answer it, you are correct. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is asking and answering questions on the past. Okay, so sorry about that. Just noticed that this part wasn't visible to us. So where are you going? I am going, or we are going. Why is she crying? She is crying because... Okay, just for you to see the words. Who is singing? Abby is singing, John is singing, Sarah is singing. Okay, just for us to see this down part. Sorry about that. So next we go on to asking and answering questions on past actions. All right, so now we come to asking questions on past actions. Actions that have already taking place, asking questions on actions that have already taken place. So here you have, what did you do? What did you do? Remember when we're talking of present, we used what are you doing? But here this action has already taken place. So it is, what did you do? Or what were you doing? Now, there is a difference between these two, okay? But for your level, I just want you to know that both of them indicate actions in the past, but not in the same way, not in the same context. This is an action that just happened in the past, but this one is something that happened at a particular time in the past. There was something else going on at the time this other one happened. But for now, don't bother yourself with that at your level. When you go higher, you are going to find out the difference, okay? But just to let you know how questions can be asked based on past actions. What did you do? Or what were you doing? The next one is, where did you go? Or where were you going? Same thing. Who sang? Or who was singing? And then you have, why did she cry? Or why was she crying? So you see, this asks the questions straight in the past. Why this ask with, it's like past continuous, because these ones are actions that happened while some other thing was going on at the same time. Okay, so let's take a look again at the... Okay, I hope it's clear. Who was singing? Who sang? Who was singing? Why did she cry? Why was she crying? Okay, just for us to see this. Now we're going to look at how we answer these questions. So the first one here says, what did you do? So to answer what did you do, the response could be, I danced, I sang. Whatever thing you did, you just put the verb in the past tense form to answer this. What did you do? I talked. What did you do? I made a mistake. What did you do? I taught the book. So whatever you did, just report it with the past tense of the verb. So here you could say I or we, because you remember I said could be singular, that is one person, or plural, more than one person. So what did you do? I danced or we danced. Okay, that's for the first part of this question. Now I will put this again. To answer what were you doing, you will say I or we were dancing. I or we were dancing. Okay, so you have two ways of answering this. What did you do? I or we danced, because you can be singular, it can be plural. What were you doing? I or we were dancing. So since the question is in past continuous, your answer will also be in continuous verb form. Okay? Now the next one here says, where did you go? Again, if the you is singular, it will be I, but if it is plural, you will use we. Where did you go? I or we went. You see? Now you can't use go because it is past. It's something that happened in the past. Went to the park. Okay? Where did you go? I went to the park, or we went to the park. If it is the other aspect, where were you going? So you respond, I or we were going to the park. Sorry, I have to write tiny font so that there will be space for it. Okay? So, where were you going? I or we were going to the park. I was going to the park, sorry. So it goes with the we, but it doesn't go with the I. So it's we. Then for the I, it will be I was. Okay? I was going to the park. We were going to the park. I hope it's not confusing. Let me read that out again. The question says, where did you go? So the response is, I went to the park, or we went to the park. Now for the second part, it says, where were you going? The response will be, I was going to the park, or we were going to the park. Okay? Because was is for singular, one person, while were is for plural, more than one. So you can't use one for the two of them. I was, we were. So the next one says, who sang? This is straight. Who sang? So the who there could be singular, it could be plural. So you could say, John sang. Or if it's more than one, you could say, whoever they are, they sang. Okay? Let's just put John here for the sake of convenience. John sang. The whole class sang. So it could be anybody. Who was singing? John was singing. Okay? And the last one that we have here says, why did she cry? So she cried because, could be any reason, because she was hungry. She cried because she was hungry. And then the second aspect would be, why was she crying? So the second part, we're going to put it down here, okay, since there won't be space on the other side. So the first one says, why did she cry? And the response is, she cried. Okay, remember we told you that for why, you always have to give reason is a question that asks for reason of an action, the reason of an action or the reason behind an action. Now, she cried. You have to put the cry in the past tense because this is something that has already happened. She cried because she was hungry. Then the other way to ask is, why was she crying? Now the response would be, she was crying because she was hungry. Now the latter part of the responses, the two responses, you will find out they are exactly the same thing, but the difference comes at the beginning. She cried because, she was crying because. So because you always have to follow the mode of the question. Okay, so this one was asked in the past continuous form, so the response would also have to follow the same way. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at now, the last one will be for future actions. All right, so the last part we're looking at is asking and answering questions on future actions. So you have, what will you do? What will you do? Something, what are you going to do? Something that is not now, it's not even in the past, it is yet to happen. What will you do, or what will you be doing? Okay, then the next one is, where will you go? Where will you be going? Who will sing? Who will be singing? While will she cry? While will she be crying? Okay, so these are questions in the future, questions based on actions that are not, that have not yet happened and that are not happening at the moment. They are going to happen later. Okay, so what will you do? You can respond to that by saying, I or we will go shopping. We will go shopping. Okay. Then for what will you be doing? You could say, I or we will be shopping. Okay. So there's a slight difference if you look at the responses. This one says, we will go shopping. There is no ing there. The shopping here is referring to the action itself, while this says we will be shopping. Then the next question here says, let me just put this so that we don't get them confused. The next question says, where will you go? I will go to the church. I will go to the church. Or where will you be going? I will be going ... to the church. Just note the way it is answered, okay? Where will you go? I will go to the church. Where will you be going? I will be going to the church. The next one says, who will sing? We can say, Sarah will sing. You can say the choir will sing. Then to answer, who will be singing? Sarah or the choir will be singing. Just to show you how you respond. And the last one here says, why will she cry? Why will she cry? So the last question here says, why will she cry, or why will she be crying? So to answer the part, why will she cry, you could say, she will cry because she will miss her mom. The second part says, why will she be crying? She will be crying because she will miss her mom. So you notice that the end part of the responses are the same, but the beginning part differ. And the difference lies in the way the questions are asked. So in answering the question, you try to follow the format of the question. Why will she? She will. You see that? Why will she cry? She will cry. You just change the positions. She will cry because. Then why will she be crying? The next question here, it says, she will be crying. You see that? So you follow the way the question is asked in order to answer it correctly. She will be crying because she will miss her mom. So here is where we're going to call it a day. I hope we have learned something today. We hope to see you again next week. Until then, stay safe and stay blessed.